It's Sunday, December 24th, Christmas Eve morning here at the West End Gun Club. Decided to come to the range just out of the blue. I wasn't really planning on doing anything, but I figured might as well just come out while the range should be relatively light or not busy to get a little practice in off a tripod in preparation for the NRL Hunter matches in 2024. You can hear a little activity behind me. I think people just had the same idea of coming out to the range on Christmas Eve morning. So I'm under here in the upper range. We'll shoot 300 yards. I already set up targets at 200 and 300 for steel. And technically today is a shotgun day. So this upper range splits between, or it's dual use for shotgun and the 300-yard line for rifle. However, the range is closed today on Christmas Eve technically. So it's closed to limited members and like general matches and guest use. So yeah. I don't think any will be here shooting shotguns, so we should be able to use the range for rifle today. And if they do, then we'll just leave and we'll go down to the main line. In any case, I'm just going to bust out my gun and we'll just get some practice in off the tripod. Target fell over. Great. To reiterate the convenience of the Garmin Xero C1 Pro chronograph, I had it on here for the first 5 rounds this morning. Slapped it on to my rifle using the Air 419 Arca mount, and I actually did miss a round, so it's just 4 shots, but I actually fired 5, so not sure where that 5th shot was missed. First time I so far have documented a missed shot. We were firing off a tripod. Maybe my rifle moved too much on recoil or something and it didn't detect that round. In any case, average of 2698.3, standard deviation 8.1, extreme spread of 22. Only a 4-shot sampling, but we'll just use 2698 as my average for this morning in today's conditions, which is around 45 degrees, I think. Kestrel says, what's Kestrel saying? Yeah, 48 degrees. I'm gonna go ahead and leave the chronograph on the rifle because if it did miss one of the shots off that 5-round string because my gun came off the target during recoil, I think that's gonna be a good tool so that I keep the gun, maintain my recoil. So it's a good test of recoil management and recoil control. So I'll go ahead and leave it on there if it functions as a decent training aid, I guess. Sorry, I'm just checking my Kestrel, readjust here if needed. But I think 1.3 for 300, roughly 300 yards should be fine. Oh, came off target quite a bit. Huh, yanking it left. wanted to bring something up from the last time that I brought this out to the range. So if you watch that range vlog, that range session, I had a couple, I think 2 or 3 times where when I cocked the gun or I closed the bolt, the firing pin was down. Didn't know why. And you would think that that was going to be like a result of a firing pin hitting the cartridge and lighting up the primer, but didn't happen. And I ended up just like recocking and pulling the trigger, not thinking about checking the primer. So I don't know if the firing pin was striking the primer enough to cause what you would call an ND, or not really a slam fire, but closing the bolt really hard to induce the firing pin to drop. So last week or so, I was trying to get this to do it, and I was able to get it to get it such that when I closed the bolt, the firing pin would be down, or the cocking piece, because this silver deal back here would be forward when the trigger's pulled. For example, we'll just show you right now. Hammer falls, that the firing pin, the back of the firing pin won't be flush with the bolt shroud. But the only way I was able to induce it at home with like an empty chamber and everything was I would have to really cycle the bolt hard forward and close the bolt at the same time, and you have to do it like in the right motion to get it to go. So I can do it like maybe once in 50 tries, but there it goes. You can see that condition there. So the question is my trigger bad? Something wrong with the sear? Is the trigger too light? Granted, the trigger is relatively heavy. I think it's about 2 pounds, 2.5 pounds. Yeah, it's about 2.5 pounds. So there he goes again. I was able to induce that. So the question is, what's really causing this? This is a Triggertech. This is the OG Triggertech, long before Triggertech had like different tiers or different grades. So this is just the Triggertech trigger. I think today, in today's terms, you probably call it the primary or the standard or whatever it's going to be. So I'm probably going to reach out to Triggertech and ask them about this. I may take the trigger out, and I don't think I can tinker with it because it's a sealed unit. But I don't know what you guys think. Maybe I can increase the weight of this thing. There it goes again. Got it to go. I have to do it in one specific motion, and not entirely sure what's causing that. So yeah, I'll reach out to Triggertech. I'll send them this video probably, and maybe they have an idea of what I can do on this. Oh, there I got it to go again. That's pretty easy. There it goes. I got it to, the firing pin is forward. There's a round in the chamber. It didn't go off. So I want to see if that primer's got an indent on it. And it does not. So, not entirely sure what's going on there. Interesting. So there's no deep indent on the, oh, there's a slight one. There is a slight one. Very minor, just a pinprick. So I'm wondering if it's, for some reason, it's not cocking on close. So it's like, if the firing pin is still forward and doesn't cock, as opposed to it like dropping. But if it wasn't, sorry, I'm just trying to gather my thoughts here. Because if it really did slam forward, like the firing pin release, it should be full pressure on the spring. So the fact that it didn't go off means that it feels like it wasn't cocked. It wasn't cocking at all. So that's an interesting thing I'll have to give to, tell Triggertech. And I'm going to save this one for take a photo of it. I left the upper range, came down here to the rimfire range to take care of something in the Connex container. Pretty light session today. Again, this was kind of a last minute deal. Just wanted to get some practice in with the gun on a tripod just to get prepared for the NRL Hunter. And I'm also going to come out to the range in the next week to continue preparing for it and sort of shooting off of prone position with my vinyl harness on, and also to practice getting my gear out of my backpack, just getting to a firing point and establishing my firing position. That's what I feel like I need to practice for NRL Hunter. So I'm probably going to do that at home as well in the garage. I'll probably set up in the garage, just have all my gear, and then just sort of time myself getting my backpack off, my tripod out, binos out, glassing, and then setting up a firing point or firing position. So I'll practice that to get my cadence in a rhythm and sort of a workflow ironed out so that I have something to rely on as far as mental training. Now, as far as my 700 police model on 308 and that whole trigger condition, again, I don't feel like it's cocking and then dropping the firing pin on bolt close, because if it were, I would have an ND. Because full pressure firing pin, it would have caused those rounds to go off. And in 4 instances, 1 today and 3 the last time I was out, 4 total instances where I closed the bolt and the firing pin was down, I didn't have an ND, or it didn't fire, no negligent discharge. So what I feel like is happening is it's not cocking when I'm closing the bolt. Like the firing pin remains closed and it doesn't cock the firing pin. And that's why I don't have any sort of ND condition or a dimple in the firing pin. Although there's a very, very slight dimple on this one that I saved, I'm gonna take a photo of. And that's probably due to the fact that it's denting it when I'm closing the bolt really hard to feed the round. The firing pin is forward, right? And so it's just jamming against the primer, creating that small, very little discernible dimple in the firing pin. It's like a full-on crater. Anyway, I'm going to email Triggertech on that and see what they think, and then maybe they'll replace it or fix it or something. But yeah, I guess that's it for today. Today is Christmas Eve again. I'm going to publish this tomorrow in a timed video release, so if you watch it tomorrow, Merry Christmas. Hope everyone has a good Christmas and a great holiday. And I will see you in the upcoming days, because again, I'm going to come out to the range again to continue practicing for NRL Hunter. Anyway, that's it for today. 12/24 Christmas Eve here at the West End Gun Club. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vlog.